Okay, so welcome everybody to our energy session, our open house today. And we are really excited to welcome you, and we'd love to see you in person, but we get to see you virtually again this year. So I am really looking forward to the day that you can all be on campus and we can do our lab tours and show you the rest of Lakeland here in Lloydminster, where we do house our energy programs. But for now, what we will do today is walk you through our programs. We will do a video of our lab tours, and then we're going to invite you to sneak into one of our first year classes today. So my name is Terry Tyndall. I am the academic advisor for the program. And with us today, we will have Brad Onfrichuk, our dean, joining us later, but I'll give it over to Rob Collins, the chair of the energy program.
Awesome, thanks, Terry. Yeah, so this annual event allows us to showcase our facility to you, prospective students, and we're so excited to have you guys come and visit us, even though, as Terry mentioned, we'd love to have you face-to-face. Unfortunately, due to the restrictions that we have going on right now, we'll have to do this via virtual setting. So the School of Energy is one of the pillars of the college here at Lakeland College, which means we are one of the bigger schools in the college program, and it's an exciting program that we get to share this with you. I'm blessed to have a dedicated staff such as Terry here. She's so excited to show you things about our daily life and how we do things here at Lakeland College. But we want to start you on an educational journey and help you succeed to become a power engineer. And with being a power engineer, we want to see you have a successful and rewarding career. So let's just talk briefly what a power engineer is. It's more than just working in the oil and gas, but it have opportunities to work anywhere that has a pressurized vessels. In most cases, a boiler setting which is our main focus. Power engineering is basically we're going to take steam and we're going to convert that to some sort of energy. We can use these places such as the food and ag industry, hospitals, heating plants in universities, power plants, pulp and paper. There's so much jobs abroad that is out there. We don't just focus in on oil and gas, but multiple purposes of what is out there. If you do end up coming to Lakeland College, our staff is very, very helpful. They want to see you succeed. We're lucky because we have a small class size, which benefits for you as student. The max would be a 40-to-1 ratio in our first year. Usually in our second year is more towards a 30-to-1 ratio. So 30 students to one instructor, 40 students to one instructor. You're going to be able to train in a world-class lab that we have. And inside those labs, you will go through the daily lives of what a power engineer does. We're running through scenarios and help you train to become the great operator that I know you can. Again, this is an educational journey that we want to see you succeed. Inside our labs, we have usually we do max of a 10-to-1 ratio of students to lab instructor. Anyway, I'm going to turn it back to you guys. Again, welcome coming to Lakeland College. I hope to see you here in the fall. And thanks so much, Terry, for hosting this and allowing us to visit the program. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. One thing that you're most likely thinking about when joining our program is how are we delivering the program? And I will say with confidence that this year we're face-to-face. We have our classes going on right now that we're going to pop into. Last year we did have virtual class, but the one thing we've always maintained is that we were doing face-to-face labs and face-to-face exams. So that means that no matter what, you're still going to get the hands-on learning that is really integral to our program. So we are an ABSA approved program, which means that we are regulated by the Alberta Boilers Association, which means our students must have this this in-person STEAM time. So that's a real bonus. If for some reason you were feeling nervous, like we're going virtual for this session, I do want to assure you that we're having in-person classes now. I can't wait to see people back on campus for these types of sessions where everyone's milling around and it's a busy day. But I will assure you that no matter what, we would have in-person labs, in-person exams, in-person contact with your instructors. So that is the minimum that at least we had last year, if you're feeling nervous. So we're going to go over the programs, HOOT, HOPE, which is our fourth going into third class power engineering. We also have second class power engineering and a petroleum management diploma program, which we offer online. Today we're going to focus on the in-person programs, HOOT and HOPE, and we will cover a little bit more on our second class and fourth class online and PM diploma online courses. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, Brad. Hello, Brad. Brad Onufrichuk is the Dean of both Business and Energy, so he is here to say a few words. One moment. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Terry. Sorry, I was hopping from one open house session to another. So I was just at the business orientation open house session, and just wanted to spend just a minute or two to welcome you. Glad that you could join us this morning. And I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder today, but I will say that our programming has been in place for a couple of decades. So we have experience. We have a great lineup of instructors. You've got a lot of things, exciting things to look forward to as you think about joining our program. And so I wanted to express best wishes to you. Welcome to Lakeland College, and hope that you enjoy your experience with us. And so I'll leave it at that. Thanks, and back to you, Terry.
Awesome. Yes, I'm excited to see you on campus again here one of these days. And I do believe that you could even work with enrollment or recruitment to do a tour as long as you plan that ahead of time. So we'll throw that information in the chat here. But I am going to share my screen, and we're going to talk about the HOOT and the HOPE programs. So bear with me. That is the PowerPoint presentation up. Can anyone give me a thumbs up? Yes, yeah. I think so. Thank you so much. Okay, so one of the main things with our program is that we offer that real in-person training, and that's so integral to becoming a power engineer. So like Rob alluded to, you could go into oil and gas, you could go into food processing, you maybe are going to go work at a pulp and paper mill. We have students go out to, like I said, that food processing, working in an arena. There's a lot of different career paths that you can choose. It doesn't necessarily have to be oil and gas, like we are really heavy here in the Lloydminster area. So if you're considering joining the HOOT one-year certificate program, we have identical classes in our first and second year for HOOT or HOPE year one. So that refers to Heavy Oil Operations Technology Certificate Program. So essentially the first year, you're going to work through the 4A and 4B power engineering. You are going to also learn heavy oil, as well as a communications class. But the biggest thing that I know our students love is the hands-on lab time that they're going to do in the first year of the program. So you're going to get 100 hours of in-person STEAM time with your instructors in the first year, plus we send you out to a 6-week practicum right in the middle of the program. So you come onto campus, maybe it's a steep learning curve to learn that new language of power engineering. After term one, we send you right out to practicum and you get that hands-on learning. And a lot of times we find our students come back for 4B, which is the term 2 lecture that we cover in power engineering, and they've grown so much over that 6-week time frame because they've been out there and they've seen it and they've done the things that they were learning about in term one. So that is the first year of HOOT, where you can then exit and have a Lakeland certificate, as well as a 4th class power engineering ABSA certification as long as you've passed all of your courses and exams with ABSA. The year 2, we have a 2-year diploma program called Heavy Oil Power Engineering Diploma. And again, your first year is identical. You start with 4th class power engineering. And your second year is when you learn 3rd class power engineering, and we have 4 papers. The most exciting thing, again, I will say, is the 200 hours of lab time that you're going to gain in your second year of the program. And now we have a 3-month practicum placement where we send you out to industry. So when a student comes back to year 2 of the program, they're going to take lecture and lab and learn about heavy oil in term 1. They do have a Christmas break this time, and they go on to term 2 to learn the 2 other remaining 3rd class papers, gain more lab time, and then you have the 3-month practicum. The one thing with our practicums is that a student can go off to an unpaid practicum, or they could have a paid practicum. One of the things, myself as the advisor, I work with the practicum coordinator to help set you up for success for a practicum. This may mean that we find a location for you in an unpaid setting, or we may send you job postings. We may have companies come on site to do interviews. We may be the first person to be able to send you links to these jobs. I just will preface it that, like, I could never apply for you. It always would be the student to have their resume ready, and that's something that we work on in year 1 of the program with our communications course, so that the student is ready, has his resume, has his or her resume, and then myself or the practicum coordinator are going to send you job postings so that our practicum contacts can see that you're a Lakeland student and hopefully hire you for a summer job. From there, at the end of your 2-year program, you're going to be able to walk away with a diploma from Lakeland, as well as 3rd class power engineering certification from ABSA. Students could transfer their certification to TSASC or transfer it to another province, but I will just say that our program is ABSA certified, and so we work within the Alberta governing body. Sorry. We also have an online 4th class power engineering certificate program that some students consider. Right now, we have started it this year in the online format where you can receive a certificate from Lakeland, and we're going to give you all the material online to work through lecture. The difference being that with this one, you would need to have a 6-month practicum if you're finding it out on your own, or you could also join our Lakeland STEAM Lab in a continuing education type of course. With that program, I will say it's not as cut and dry as HOOT and HOPE, because it's online, because it's more student focused, that they're learning on their own, but we do have instructor support built in. So the online program, you're still going to get a Lakeland certificate. You still can gain your 4th class ABSA power engineering certification. It's just not as, it's not an in-person course where you have lecture and labs and practicum built into that program. The self-directed practicum is something that you'd work with myself, and we would see about where we can get you set up out in industry, or perhaps that STEAM Lab is the option for you. I'm going to just stop sharing my screen for a moment. Sorry, I think I'm back. So we also have 2nd class power engineering, where a student could go from their 4th to their 3rd and then on to their 2nd class power engineering in an online course delivery format. You can gain a certificate from this type of program, and you would work at these 6 ABSA papers over a period of 2 years. So we have instructor support built in. Usually the type of learner doing the 2nd class power engineering program is someone who's probably working out in industry already and doing this alongside their career. So this is just a pathway that you can go from 4th to 3rd to 2nd and just keep leveling up to open up more career opportunities for you. The Petroleum Management Diploma program that we offer is also an online program. A student isn't typically coming out of high school to join this program. They need a type of certification to join entry into the program. So perhaps you've been working out in the industry, you have a 4th class, 3rd class, maybe a gas process operator certificate, and you're wanting to get into a leadership or management role. We offer this course through an online delivery, and the student can work through the 10 courses in our diploma program to receive their Lakeland diploma and prepare themselves for those management roles. So I'm not sure if our students joining today are high school students or out of school students for a few years, but we can always have a Q&A here at the end. I'm going to share a couple videos, but in the meantime, while I just get that ready, Rob, was there anything that you wanted to share about our 4th, 3rd, 2nd PM diploma, any of our other programs?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head for every one of them. It's a bit confusing. Just think of the lower the number in power engineering, the more certified you are. So it's kind of a reverse of most tradespeople along the way. So a lot of people struggle with that concept, but you'll get it. And ABSA is, again, you have to pass those papers as well as complete the course and do all the STEAM time to become fully certified. So that's the biggest thing that you have to remember with all of these things. Does that cover it for you?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I'm going to try to share a video here, and Rob or Colleen, if my sound doesn't come through, can you just alert me, please? Because it's I'm going to try to share the video of our Husky Lab, where our students start in their 1st year of the program. This is our STEAM chief who is going to be presenting here. So bear with me. I hope this works. Okay.
Good morning. My name.
Oh, I'm going to turn up the sound. One sec. It would be so nice to be in person right now. I would love to be able to walk you guys through a lab, or somebody else walk you through a lab. Okay, let's try this.
My name is Tim Brochu, and I am the STEAM Chief of the Energy Program. Welcome to the Husky Lab. Thank you for taking your time this morning to express an interest and desire in our power engineering program. Your endeavor to become a power engineer is going to start in this lab. This is a lab that our 1st year students cut their teeth. This is where you learn the theory of power engineering and you put it into practice in our lab. We have multiple pieces of equipment here, and this is part of our learning. You spend your 1st year looking after low pressure boilers, looking after high pressure boilers, and all the theory that goes with it. This plant is a 3rd class plant, but our 1st years work in this plant extensively. As you move to the 2nd year of your program, you will move over to the Synovus lab, which is a little bit of a larger setting. The career of a power engineer is to take a form of energy and convert it to another form of energy. So the form of energy that you're most familiar with is electricity, and that is the work of a power engineer. So every time you turn on a light switch, you should thank a power engineer. Power engineer takes natural gas, they run it through a boiler to create steam. That steam then is rolled through a steam-driven turbine. So we take the thermal energy of steam, we convert it to a mechanical energy, a rotary mechanical energy, which is coupled to an electric generator, and we then produce electricity. So your future career is to take one form of energy and convert it to another. Looking forward to seeing all of you in lab next year.
Okay. I hope you could hear that. Could anyone hear that? Yes? What I will do is share a link to that Dropbox video, because if you're in the chat right now, you could just copy that and open up another web browser and then be able to view that on your own computer or phone or laptop, whatever you're on right now. So just steal that link from the chat and you can maybe get a better look at it, watch it again, show your family, show your friends, because that is our Husky Lab, and that's where you're going to have your first year of the program where you do 100 hours of lab. Like Rob said, we do very small class sizes, 10 to 1, so you're all going to be doing the work, you're all going to be getting that hands-on learning and implementing what you know when you go out to practicum and the next year and off into industry. Before we go off to the first year classroom, I will show you this one is a 3-minute video of our Synovus lab, and this was recorded in a previous year. Just bear with me while I open that up. If anybody does have questions, feel free to use the chat. I think I will be able to do this. Let's try this one. So again, this is 3 minutes, and then what we're going to do is go off to the first year classroom. So we'll take like a couple-minute break while I go and set up over in that classroom, and then we'll do 5 minutes inside an electrical and instrumentation for a first year classroom.
Welcome to Lakeland College's Synovus Lab. Come on in and see our state-of-the-art power lab.
Water in a boiler is as vital as blood is to you. Here we test the water. Clean water is a healthy boiler.
Our OTSG is the only one in a Canadian college. If you want to know what OTSG stands for, enroll today.
Our Synovus lab replicates a live plant. You can control many operations with the click of a mouse inside of our control room.
Our fire tube boiler is one of 4 high-pressure boilers in our lab.
This is our D-type water tube boiler. It's one of our high-pressure boilers that can run on natural gas or diesel.
Ever wonder how alcohol is made? Sign up to our power engineering program to find out. Cheers, mate.
High pressure steam is feed to the turbine, which produces electricity that powers the college.
Whenever you flip on a light switch or gas up your car, you should thank a power engineer. Come join us at Lakeland College and start your power engineering career today.
I think that video is so great. I'm so proud of that video. So one of the names that was included on the end of that video was Jessica Amandrud. She's one of our people in student services, but we have the whole enrollment team here today, recruitment, enrollment team, student services, all able to help you out. I've included a link to one of our main sessions that are coming on at, I believe, 11:30. It's up in the chat here. And I just want to remind you that we do have this event info form that you can fill out, and you can be entered to win. I think they're giving away AirPods. Like there's a ton of stuff that they're giving away right now. So do use that link to fill out a form. You get an entry into the draws for every form that you fill out. So I'm just gonna, it's in the chat here. I was gonna try to bring it up, but regardless, you can enter to win. Just join as many sessions as possible today. We have another 1 o'clock session for our energy, and we're going to have one of our students actually walk through the labs today. And so you can kind of see where we're situated in the campus, that you would have your lecture in this classroom, but you'd go to lab over here. So kind of a mini walkthrough that we'll be doing at our 1 o'clock session today. Following this, there will be the Sustainable Energy Technology info session coming up for open house, and many other sessions throughout the day. So what I am going to do is give you guys a couple minutes, because I'm going to go switch screens, go on my phone, and join a classroom. Yes, Rob.
Awesome. I'll look after any questions while you're doing that. So while Terry's handling that, again, we really would like to see you guys come join. And that doesn't have to be power engineering. You know, there's multiple great programs here in both the Lloydminster campus and the Vermilion campus. And we just want to see people further their educational journey, whether you're a mature student or a student coming right out of high school. For any high school students that are out there in the crowd, maybe you're in grade 10, grade 11, or even grade 12, I encourage you right now to take the hardest programs you can, even if it's not coming into power engineering. But if you take all the hardest programs you can, that opens up a lot more doors for you for those that are wishing to get into college or university setting. With that, is there anybody who has any questions or comments or anything like that?
Yeah, I did have a couple questions about the fourth class power engineering course. So in the requirement, it says you need to have 6 months of STEAM time. Does that have to be after the course, or could it be while you're doing the course or before even?
Okay, so are you in regards to the online course or the daytime program?
The online course.
Yeah, so the online course, no, you can go ahead and register right away with an online course. And then, yes, you can then go and find 6 months of STEAM time once you've completed it or while you're doing it as well, if you've got that option. If you can't find that option, we do offer a 5-week summer STEAM lab that happens in roughly the end of May and goes through the month of June. And so the reason we can give you those full 6 months with that is it's in a controlled setting. So we can do a 200-hour lab for the fourth class online in the summer STEAM lab that you can get those 6 months of STEAM time. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. And for the ABSA exam for part A and B, does it, is it online exam, or do I have to be?
Sorry. Yeah, no, so fourth class online is usually within, or sorry, ABSA exams are 150 questions, and they're usually at the ABSA site. So they have rotating sites between Edmonton, Calgary, and Red Deer. So we'll just let Terry keep going here, and then we'll jump back to your question. How's that?
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You bet. We don't see anything, Terry. I'm not sure what's going on, Terry. Okay, while Terry's figuring that out, does anybody else have any other questions?
I do have another question again. So for the fourth class power engineer, I see online there's a September and a January start date, and the lady I called, she said there might be an early start. Is that still an option?
No, so it'll be January start, as far as I know right now, would be the next offering for that.
Okay, thanks.
You bet. Terry, are we good to go? Your sound is off, Terry.
I'd like to think we're good to go. Can you hear me? Oh no, you can't hear me.
Yeah, we can just see a blank screen, like
Okay.
Turn to your camera to the right. Yeah, it's not coming through, Terry. Is there any other questions that may have involved here? No. So I guess we're just filling dead space again. Saying take some of the hardest courses you can. That will help you open up so many more doors to any post-secondary institution, whether it's Lakeland or anywhere else. I encourage that for any students that may be in high school. For our mature students, you know, it's a tough thing to get back on that educational treadmill, but we do have some wonderful mature students that, and I've seen it done. I'm one of them. As you progress in power engineering for your second class, and that you have to take that on your own, and it is a challenge, but it can be done. If you have a good support network at home, that really helps out as well. I'm trying to fill dead space here. Colleen, do you got any words of wisdom to add? Colleen is our admin assistant.
All right, there are 6 objectives that we need to get through for this session. Well, sorry, this chapter basically. And I'm going to break this up into 3 sessions. So I've got 6 hours to get this done, so we don't need to go border gate pace through this. We can take our time and we've got the time. So first objective, describe the types of pressure sensing and measuring devices. That's one of our big 4. Second, describe the types of level sensing and measuring devices. That's the second of our big 4. Third, describe the types of flow sensing and measuring devices. The third of our big 4. And then finally, describe the types and temperature sensing measuring devices. So the first 4 objectives are where the bulk of the questions for this chapter are going to come from, because they're all about the big 4. The remaining objectives is for 5, describe the types of humidity sensing and measuring devices. That's a very short objective. And then finally, number 6, describe the types of gas sensing and measuring devices, which is another very short objective to talk about, and talking about something called HPLCs and HPGCs. All right. So we spoke back in chapter 1 that any control loop that is controlling a process will have 4 function blocks. And those 4 function blocks were our process, our measurement, our controller, and our final control element. They were the 4 blocks. So the block that we are now zooming into is the block that contains our process measurement. That's the measurement block. So specifically what we are talking about in this block is, in this example, the process sensing element. And don't forget, the process is what we're actually trying to measure. Now, of course, the focus for the chapter, and what I keep referring to, of the big 4, is your temperature, level, flow, and pressure in any order you like. There are lots of other things that we could measure, and we've mentioned that. But to give you an idea, the big 4 do not have to be measured in their SI units. So hopefully by now with Unit 1 and wherever you're at for Unit 1, you know that the flow rate, i.e. is measured in basically litres per second as a basic value. You know that temperature is measured in Kelvin for an SI unit. You know that pressure is measured in pascals for a metric unit. And then the last one, you know that level would basically be measured as a distance, which an SI unit would be in meters. Those would be your base SI units. But in instrumentation, those units don't always work nicely for us. So you can see, for example, for level, I could show you the level in a tank in a percentage. That's very common. I could show it to you in centimetres, like the level on the boiler and the deaerator in the power lab. I could show you it in basically meters cubed, i.e. how many thousand litres at a time are in there. So there's all sorts of manner of values we can assign to these processes. For pressure, by far the most common is going to be kPa, but because we live so close to the Americans next door, you find we use a lot of PSI as well, and we have to be able to jump back and forth. If your vessel, however, runs at extremely high pressure, you might be using MPa, which is megapascals. And then for lower pressures, we're probably using pascals, or maybe even something else, like millimeters of water column, or millimeters of mercury. We'll get onto those a little bit later. So you can see here, basically, for any one you care to talk about, there are lots of options as to how you might want to represent it as a value for a particular control loop. Now, what will basically that decision be based upon? Well, what is your loop doing? What are you trying to control? What is the most user-friendly? What is the best way for that particular loop? And there's no right answer to that. It's loop-specific. All right. So some of the more esoteric ones that you might come across with regarding instrumentation are things like pH, measuring an acidity or a basicity in terms of the power of hydrogen number. A popular one we see is opacity. I once saw a question on the exam asking about what opacity was. It's not in this textbook, it's in one of your boiler books, in unit 11 or 12. I forget which one. Opacity is something that we measure in our stacks. And if something's opaque, it's hard to see through. Imagine like a milky, cloudy colour, that's opaque. Well, in our stack, the more opaque our emissions are, the more particulate there is in it. And we need to know about these things because the old politicians have regulated our emissions so tightly that we have to be mindful of what we're emitting into the atmosphere, and we have limits for all these things. So an opacity sensor would be located in the stack, and it would be part of something we usually call a CEMS. Not sure if Paul's got to that yet, but that's called a continuous emission monitoring system. And it's basically a computer that monitors what you're putting into the atmosphere, and for some plants, it reports in real time straight to the government or the Ministry of the Environment. So they know on a daily basis what you are putting into the atmosphere. If you exceed your limits, there are warnings and there are penalties for doing so. Some other ones there you can see we've got all sorts of other options. Basically, if it's a process, you can measure it. All right, so that's our introduction. So getting into our first of our objectives then, we'll start our journey through the big four of level, pressure, temperature, and flow. The first of those that we'll talk about is to determine how are we actually going to measure pressure. Now, as a little aside to this, in chapter 1 on the introduction, I showed you a control loop that related to your power lab. And the control that we talked about was how to measure or how to monitor and control the discharge pressure of the boil feed water pump. So in that measurement block, I told you that there was a pressure sensing element. Well, this objective is now going to basically tell you what kind of element is it and how does it actually measure the pressure. So that's what these objectives are all about. All right, there are lots.
Awesome. So you can probably guess that's Simon. He's one of our really good instructors here at Lakeland College, and he's got a wealth of knowledge, as of all our instructors who have multiple years of experience both in industry and teaching. So again, we're looking forward to have you come out and join us here in the fall. So I'm going to turn this back over to Terry. She's running. You're going to you should get an Olympic medal for the sport that you're doing over there.
I'm so silly. Honestly, I felt really funny there doing that, but that's okay. We're just winging it here, and you were able to see what the typical classroom looked like. Now, you were asking about what we do in a day-to-day. I think it was Lincoln. So that class right there that you're watching, they already started at 8 a.m., had a lecture with a different instructor. We try to have specialty content instructors. So I think they had boilers this morning, and then they are now going into electrical and instrumentation with Simon. You're going to get a lunch break, don't worry, and then you're going to come back to class for a couple hours, maybe have a welding class or a class on safety and codes. So we try to break it up that you'll have these 2-hour blocks and focus on different content as you work through 4A, 4B, and then our third class papers in the second year as well. When Rob was talking about our labs being the 5-hour labs, you should be prepared that we have a 7 a.m. lab. Be there early, be there 6:45, be there earlier if you're a morning person, and that's going to run until noon. And then we have the noon to 5 class. Again, always show up early, be prepared, have your stuff ready. So that day, if you're a lab day, you're only doing lab. The next day you'd come for lecture, maybe another lecture day, but it's possibly a shorter day with communications or heavy oil in the first year. So you're typically running either a 4 to 6 hour lecture day or a 5-hour lab day. Hopefully that helps answer your question. I will try to do a tour later this afternoon to show you the Energy Lounge, where a lot of our students congregate and study. You know, we've got the cafeteria that you could go and take a break with and work together. A lot of our students stay after class and study in these sections of little spots that we have on campus. So we have a few different lounge areas that I really love to see our students taking advantage of and studying together, because you're in this together, and why not work together? We do find a lot more success with our students who do have study groups. We find that with our lab groups being a small class size, that's a built-in study group right there for you. Did anyone else have any other questions? I'm not sure what else I saw in the chat there when I was running back and forth. Was there someone else who had a question, or was it just about the, yeah. It was just about what the typical day looks like, number of classes, end time. So you're going to be taking power engineering, heavy oil, communications, and lab. So it is a heavy load compared to maybe if you were taking electives or something else in a business or UT course, but our course is different. Our program is different. We are government regulated. We are a math and physics and science heavy program, and that's what you're going to use when you're out in industry. So it's about applying yourself, putting in the work, and being prepared. If you love math, if you love science, if you love physics, or even if they weren't your strongest suit, but you are willing to put in the work, you can become a power engineer. And any of our instructors will be there to help. So I'm going to leave it with just open discussion. If anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. And I will remind you again to just join in with those event forms so that you could be entered to win. If you'd like my email, I'm going to throw it in the chat because we can talk about the application, the admission side of it. You would go right down to admissions for it, but I can help answer questions in the meantime. And do take advantage of our free apply code that is open today and tomorrow. Where do we find the event form? We'll put a link in there as soon as I put my email. So if you want to email me any questions, you're more than welcome to. I may direct you back to enrollment or recruitment or admissions, but when you do come on campus, I will be your kind of liaison for support and can be your back and forth with getting you connected to anything we offer here, like the Commons team supports for accessibility, for we have counseling, we have wellness services, we have our, like I said, our cafeteria, we have learner success strategist. We have a lot of supports built into our program, and I really just love seeing our students taking advantage of everything from the student association events to our sporting events. We have an ice hockey team now, that's super cool. So lakelandcollege.ca/event-info-form, and the link is right here in the event. I believe we were talking about the promo code previously. The promo code is working now, so hopefully everyone can use that. And if you do have questions, I would send you over to Student Services so they can help you with all of that. I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining in, and I will just stay on here for a few more minutes. I will stop recording so that if you were a little shy and didn't want to ask anything, you can ask those questions now. So I'm going to stop recording, and thank you again.